Hello guys, and today I'm going to be doing a video, and it's actually part 2 of how to texture paint in Blender 2.91. Again, this applies in the latest version. So without further ado, let's get into it. So last time we painted the tree. Now, by the way, there's going to be a card. If you didn't watch the part 1, there's going to be a card that you can click on and click on the video. So watch that before this, and if you've already watched that video, well then you're ready for this video. So select all the rocks first, because we're painting the ground, we're texture painting the ground. So select everything, like all the rocks, and then we actually want to hit Control J. That's going to join every rock and stuff that we selected. So now what we want to do, go to UV editing, and I've already projected this, but you basically just hit A in edit mode and click UV, Smart UV project, and then click OK, and it would project like this. So in texture paint mode, we actually would want to go to the active tools and workspace settings, and the single image painting in the texture draw, we want to click on this image icon and click ground texture. Now this is something I already created, but for you to create this image, you just click this new image and then name it, and then you basically would just select it over here, and now we can paint the rocks and stuff. We have the UVs and all that, we have the materials, and we're good. And so yeah, it's basically what we do. Don't need to add any new materials or anything like that. So now we can paint on the rocks, but we have to change our brush color and stuff. So go back to active tools and workspace settings, and let's start painting the ground like a green on the top and brown at the bottom, kind of. So let's just do that, and there, you have a brown, and we can start painting that onto those rocks and stuff. So first we're just gonna paint this brown on like the bottom rocks and stuff, and in the thumbnail of the video, that's not actually how this is gonna turn out, only because that's actually the picture that the person's 3D model is. But there's gonna be a link in the description of part 1 where you can download this 3D model, and again, make sure to watch part 1 if you didn't. So the link to that video is going to be in the description, and there will be a card right up in the corner again. And so yeah, just want to basically make all this brown, at least that's what I'm doing first, and then I'm actually going to make my brush size a bit bigger so I can paint more easier. And we can always go into rendered view instead of the viewport view. So you can go to material preview or rendered. I'm going to go in rendered because I think it looks the prettiest. Oh, and guys, reason why we have to do this is in render mode we can't see anything. That is because we need to actually add this new material. Then click on this yellow dot where it says base color, go to image texture. Then we don't need to open anything. We actually click on this image icon, and then click ground texture, and now all of our stuff will appear in rendered view. So we did actually have to make a material. So I'm just painting everything brown at first, but then I'm going to paint some green at the top for the grass. But you can also do specific highlights of shading, like different colors and stuff for different highlights, like lighter or darker. But I'm going to do that in a second. I just need to paint everything, make sure there isn't just black anywhere. And in this case, there's actually some black on the bottom. And we can rename our thing in the outliner to rocks, so that we know that. And so just color all of it, make sure nothing's black, and just paint it. And for some reason that's staying how it is. Oh, because it probably is brown, but because there isn't a light under there, it's a shadow, so it looks completely black. But over here, you can tell that's where blackness is and darkness. Not of shading, but just uncolored. And you just go under here, make sure everything's colored properly, which it's not really on the bottom. So that's what I'm fixing right here, right now. And you can scale down your brush size to get more specific areas. But I guess it's all painted brown. So now we need to paint some green on the top. So we go to our active tool and workspace settings, and then make like a lighter green, a bit lighter green. And then do that. And as you can see, there's some green on the top. Now, as far as the rocks, right next to the tree, we need to actually mask that out so that we can only paint on that. So let's do that. So hit this face thing, and then tab into edit mode, and then click on one of those rocks, hit Control L, and then shift and click on the other rock and Control L. So I can select the linked all, and now we can only paint on those. So let's make a gray for those rocks, so that they can be gray. Yeah, so let's just make them a nice gray, not brown, but gray. And then just move around, and the cloud actually is in the way. But just make sure to get every part of the rock and stuff, so that there's no just brown spots. Then again, you can make lighter shades of gray for some of the highlights. It's a bit too bright. I'm just gonna paint over that a bit, but still a tiny bit brighter. And paint's kind of a highlight on it. And then we can deselect the mask thing. And then now we have those gray rocks. And now for the bottom, we need to paint these rocks too. So we click on that face again, except tab into edit mode, and actually click on one of these bottom rocks and hit Control L, and then shift, click on those other rocks, hit Control L, and keep doing that for these rocks to select all these bottom rocks here. And make sure to shift select. So and just basically shift, click on the thing, hit Control L, and then move on to the next rock and do the same thing. And copy me if you don't exactly know what you're doing. Again, you can put your own twist on it. It shouldn't look exactly the same as mine, but this is a follow along tutorial, so it should look very similar. Then hit tab to go back in texture paint, and now we can only paint those rocks. So let's paint them a gray. And I'm just gonna scale up my brush size so I can just paint all of them at once, kinda. And then just move and paint those. And make sure you don't leave really any brown spots. However, they're made to put a bit of detail. You can go in and put a bit of brown for like dirt, exactly where it's merging inside to the dirt. Only for rocks that are actually in the dirt though. But just make sure you have it all painted. And yeah. And again, you can do this with your own 3D models, and it doesn't have to be low poly. Just it would be a bit more advanced when it's not low poly, that's all. So that's all I'm gonna say. You could paint a bit of black on the rocks by hitting Control and put F to scale our brush size down So you can hold control and click to put some black, or kind of to erase. But to put some detail, I'm just gonna put, and actually, it doesn't really work right. I don't think you guys should do that. If anything, we should make the dirt idea to basically put dirt on where the rocks are merging into the island. So let's do that, and also change the blend if you want, and put like an overlay. Let's see what that does, and that kind of puts like a slight overlay to it. Let's make this more of a brown. It's like in between orange and red, but dark. So that makes it kind of brown. And you can play around with the blend modes. I'm gonna make it. I can add alpha, I think. Okay, maybe not, but we can just play around with these and see what difference does. Oh, that basically that makes it a different color. But you can play around with these. Again, I'm just gonna do mix and just put a bit of brown in these spots. And again, you don't have to, but it's just for a bit of detail at least. And I don't know exactly how to smooth these. You guys can look that up. I don't know exactly how to smooth that. I'm actually not gonna even put any brown just to make things easier. And if we go back to texture paint mode and stop the masking, you can see we do have some gray parts on the island. So you can just click on the island part, not the rocks, and hit Control L to select that, and then go into texture paint and just focus on painting the ground maybe a bit. So I'm gonna make that a bit of a lighter green, not too white though. Okay, that doesn't look right. And again, guys, I'm using a trackpad. I recommend you use a mouse in Blender. I was using the mouse last time, but this time I forgot about it. But with the mouse, though, you do have a bit more of control with what you're doing. So I recommend a mouse. So you just want to paint these gray spots. I don't know exactly where they came from. And then you just want to paint those a bit. And yeah, you can hit F and scale up your brush size and just click on the top mainly. You can just paint it all that color for now to fix some of that. And yeah, just make sure it's right and not messed up. And now it kind of like fades into the dirt, which is kind of the effect we want. And now we can hit A in UV editing. So go to object mode, hit A, go back to texture paint. Now we have all of it selected. And basically, we can have all of it selected for painting. So we go to layout now. You can see this is what it ended up as. And you can paint the clouds too. Now clouds are supposed to be white, but just to make this real quick and wrap up the tutorial, you can basically go into edit mode and click on this face thing in texture paint mode. And actually what we want to do though is go to layout, select the clouds, go to texture paint, and make sure mask is on. So it says missing UVs detected. That's because it's missing the UV map for the clouds. And let's make a new image and let's just call this clouds. And then hit OK. And then in here, go click on clouds so we can paint the clouds. Now we go to the UV editing and then just click UV, Smart UV Project, okay, and again, there, and now we can paint on those. However, we shouldn't have green on the clouds, just saying. So just scale down the brush size a bit, and yeah, make sure you have those clouds selected all the way, and then so that they're masked, so you can only paint on them. And let's make the clouds like make them not a gray, but like a white, like, I don't know, maybe tint of blue, a tiny bit of blue, not too much, but just the tiniest bit. And I'm actually not seeing, oh, the reason why is you go to the materials tab and actually click on new, and then click on that yellow dot, make image texture, click on this icon, and then go to clouds. And so now you can see it on there. And again, layout, and just select this also, and hit new, and then change this to image texture and clouds. So now that you can paint both of them, let's do it. It's like a slight tint of blue. Don't get crazy with it. Clouds shouldn't be, they should be white, but because they were already white by default, I wanted to give it a bit, make it a bit more fun by painting it like this, a slight blue. And so just make sure you get all the cloud. Don't miss parts of the cloud because that would look really unusual. And there, we have one cloud done. Now another to go. However, you need to go here and go to layout, and then select this cloud. Go to texture paint, tap into edit mode, make sure you have that selected. Now you can only paint that cloud. And then just make sure to click all over it. And there we go. And just make sure there's no black in the clouds. And there you go, guys. Now we have our tree, our island, and we can go here and render it. So let's do that. But first we want to go to the world properties, or not world properties, render properties, film, make it transparent, and now save a Blender file, click render image, and this should look pretty beautiful. And there you go, guys. That is part 2, and that's finished of the series. This is for this series, and just finished that series. So thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. I hope this video taught you something. Make sure to save your Blender file, and I'll see you guys next time. Also, make sure to save your image. Let's tree island.png, save this image, and there you go.